Love finances the other effort and want to support the show? Become a patron by going to patreon.com/FTOFW. You'll get special features, a shout out on the air, and early releases. Or if you prefer, pick up some merchandise at financestheotherfword.com.
As fantastic a CFP as Mel O is, as wonderful an attorney as I am, and as good as Stormy is at whatever it is he does, please do note that anything said in our podcasts are our opinions alone and are not meant to be taken as financial or legal advice.
Welcome to Finances, the Other F Word, a Gen Xer podcast for musicians and music lovers, where we discuss money and music without all the pretentious bullshit. Here are your hosts, Zoe Terry, attorney at large, Stormy Andrews, founder of Yokel Local Marketing, and Mel O, certified financial planner and author of Finances, the Other F Word. Listener discretion is advised.
Hey guys, welcome to Finances, the Other F Word. And man, do we have a cool fucking show for you guys today. We have the privilege of talking to Debbie Cimino, a friend of mine who I've known for enough years. We're not going to talk about how long we've known each other. That's nobody's business. Fuck you. You guys don't need to know that. She is a show mom and a realtor extraordinaire. And she is also the mother of up-and-coming kick-ass actor Michael Cimino, who has appeared in multiple things, including Centurion 12, No Child Left Behind, Annabelle Comes Home, Dog Days, Walk the Prank, Training Day, Shangri-La Suite, Hopefuls, Limitless Potential, and is currently the star of Love Victor on Hulu. Debbie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And I'm so happy that we finally got to connect because we've been trying to do this for a hot minute. And I don't know, COVID and masks and all kinds of other crap have been happening, and we haven't really had a chance to do it. And normally we'd be doing this in the studio, but we got everything working good now. And the reason why I thought it would be so cool to have Debbie on the show with us today is because there's a lot of show moms out there, and there's a lot of kids that are up and coming. And when I say kids, I'm just referring to somebody 18 and younger, okay?
Right.
That are trying to, break into acting. And quite frankly, the talent, not everyone has talent. Okay.
Right.
Like I couldn't do that shit. But it takes a lot, to get a kid who is talented and actually get them to a point where they can get breaks in Hollywood and start getting these opportunities. And there's a whole backstory that Debbie was telling me that goes behind that. So let's just start from the very, very beginning, Debbie. When Michael first came to you and he said, "Hey mom, I want to act," or whatever he said, what was your reaction? What was your feelings? Tell me a little bit about that.
So when Michael was 4 years old, he started playing tennis at Las Vegas Day School. He was at the tennis courts in Las Vegas Country Club, and he was getting more professional. He used to go to church every Sunday with his babysitter since he was an infant, Glenda. And somebody from church was having an acting class, and they felt that Michael was dramatic and he might be good for it. So she gave me the number and she says, "Karina wants to know if Michael would be interested." I said, "Well, let me ask him," because I always kind of gave him choices. And I said, "Michael, Miss Karina would like to know if you're interested in acting, and she has a class. You want to check it out?" He goes, "Yeah, okay, I'll check it out." And so we brought him to the class, and moving forward, he started taking the class 5 or 6 months. And I was he was going to private school and taking acting class and tennis, and it was singing, and it was just a lot. And I was selling homes at the same time. And then finally, after 6, 7 months, I said, "Michael, you're getting more pro at tennis, and we need to do something here. You can't do everything 100%. You need to make a choice." He goes, "Okay." I'm like, "So what's the choice?" And he said, "It's acting and singing. That's what I want to do." I said, "Okay." And then so I said, "That means no more tennis." And he said, "Yeah, I'm good with that. I love tennis, but I'm good with that." I said, "Okay." And then that's how we started. And then it was full speed ahead. And, I had to make the decision moving forward. At some point when he got an agent to take him out of private school, he used to go to Faith Lutheran, And I spoke to the principal and I said, like, he's going to school from 6 in the morning till 10 at night, and he's in the plays and he's in flag football, and it's just too much for him. And I was wondering if you could do some kind of online course and be flexible with him. And she says, oh yeah, we could do that. And of course, pay the fee of $1,200 a month. And I was a single mom, and I was like, well, I don't know. And Michael's like, please, Mom, I want to go to online school. And so I made that tough decision. Now everybody's in online school, right?
Right.
Right.
I know. And then I was like, oh my God, and what am I doing here? And, I said, okay, I'm going to put you in online school, but I want 100% from you. If I see that you're slacking off and your grades are going down and you're not doing what you got to do, you got to get up every morning and be at school at a certain time and finish by a certain time. Even if we're in auditions, like I had this, that was years ago, they have an extra adapter that you put in the car to get internet. And so he would do work on the road, and then the auditions just kept rolling in, and we were driving like 4 or 5 times a week, sometimes even on the weekends. And of course, if he had an audition the next day, we stayed in hotels, so it was very costly. Acting class was like $800 a week.
Wow.
And, so pretty much the cost for just acting was like $2,500 a month.
Wow.
And when we were on the road, that was an additional $2,500. That's hotels, meals, outfits, anything, anything that had to do with him traveling. Sometimes I would go someplace and I would have his clothes pressed right before the audition. Like, I had it down to a science, but I was always like 2 hours early, and I made sure that he had time to do his homework. He had time to sleep on the car. He had time to go over his script, eat, relax, and do it. And the biggest thing was that he didn't take rejection personally. Because I always told him, you have to realize there's a part for every person. And just because you audition 10 auditions doesn't mean you're going to get all 10. You might not get any, but you have to have a good attitude. And he was very good about it. He goes, it's okay, Mom. It wasn't meant for me. Something else is better. So that's kind of the gist of it. And, we used to sometimes, I had a rod behind my car, and I would have clothes hanging because I would pack for a week. And then at some point, my mom was sick, and my mom was living with us, and she was handicapped, and we used to take Mom on the road with us, and she loved it. She loved the ride. We used to take her to beaches and fun restaurants, and we always made the best of it and try to stay at the nicest places at the best prices, And in the beginning, I used to bring like 5 or 6 of his friends. And then it got very costly. And I was like, okay, we can't do that. This is a job, and we can't like have a million kids, because then he wasn't studying as much. But, I brought his cousins many times, and we used to make the best of it. And in filming Hopefuls, Michael had amazing friends, Dallas, Lou, and his parents, Shelly and Alex, and they opened their doors to us, and they gave us a second home to stay in California.
Wow.
And so she had a house, and then a house next to her house. And it wasn't a guest house. It was equally as big as her house. And it was totally remodeled. And they knew that, I was a struggling mom, single mom, and they were very generous, and they let us stay at their house. And they're like, no, you're not staying in a hotel. And they wouldn't take any money or anything. So I would cook sometimes for them. They love Puerto Rican food. They're Asian. And, sometimes I fought with her to pay the bill for meals, and her son and Michael were best friends. So we had many blessings along the way. And financially, it wasn't easy. I worked. I borrowed money. I sold jewelry. I hawked jewelry. I did everything, but, sell my, and sell drugs. I never did those 2 things, but I did everything else.
So here's the question. So you're going back and forth between here in California, and before your friend so graciously opens their home for you, you're flipping the bill for everything, and you're taking your mother on the road. And so I understand that, Michael had done acting classes for like maybe 6 months or something. But what
Oh, no.
made you?
Michael did acting classes for 8 years.
Oh, I mean, before he decided that he wanted to become an actor, correct? It was 6 months.
Yes.
Okay. Right. So in 6 months, he says, "Hey, Mom, I want to do this." And you have no idea of the outlay of money it's going to cost at this time, nor how your life is going to completely change. Because there's tons of times that I was trying to get you out for a drink and you're like, "Dude, I'm driving to California."
Yeah.
So what made you decide, even at that point, before you realized the outlay of money, what made you go, you know what, fuck it. Like, I'm going to be a show mom and this is his dream and I'm going to go to it because, kids, and again, they can want to do this today and then want to do something else tomorrow. And even though he had committed to 6 months of acting, what made you go, yeah, like I'm going to do this. I'm going to put everything on his acting career.
I think that I saw the talent, the fire in his eyes, and I felt that it made him very happy. And, through a time that I was going through a divorce with his dad, I wanted him to have a positive outlet, something to look forward to. And I wanted to be that person that helped him achieve his dreams. And many people didn't believe that I should be doing that. But I was like, what do I have to lose? Like, it's my only son. And I'm going to give him 100%. And so I did it. I'm like, how the fuck am I going to do it? God, how am I going to do it? But, my family helped and I have very good friends that were there and they helped me. And I'm very proud. It was not me alone. It was an army. It took an army. Many people gave us places to stay sometimes like I'm almost home. I'm like an hour away from Vegas and the agent's calling me like, where are you? I'm like, I'm an hour from Vegas. They're like, Michael has a very important callback at 11 o'clock and it's like 5 o'clock in the morning. Mm. And I'm like, holy shit. I said, okay, let me go home. Let us take a shower, take a nap like for an hour and get back on the road. And that's what we would do.
Wow.
And so I sometimes slept an hour, 2 hours, and I did it sometimes, almost had accidents. My mom was in the car with me and it was pouring and we were doing an AT&T commercial and it was an 8-hour drive to Malibu Beach and it was pouring. And at the end of the ride, my mom was waking up and I was almost under a semi-truck. She's like, oh my God. And so, but we did it somehow, God was watching over us and I don't know. I just felt like one day I would have to share him with the world. So I always made his life very normal. He had sleepovers. His cousin slept here every weekend. And, when we were around and, I cooked meals for him, whatever he liked. And I just try to have a normal childhood for him.
So what's your first step? So for show moms out there or for just fans of Michael in general, what's the first step? Okay. He says, yep, Mom, I'm on board. I'm committed to acting. You go, great. And then you go, what? You get an agent or you get a manager or what do you do?
He was already in an amazing acting school. At the time it was called Hollywood Bound. And now it's called One Media Acting Academy. And Frank Perillo's the owner and he was amazing. And so we kept him going there. And then he had an instructor, Billy Huffsey from Fame. And Billy was an amazing influence on him as well as Karina. And he was, very strict with Michael because Michael needed that male influence, like Michael, you got to study, you can't look at your phone when you're in class. You got to, he didn't coddle him and women tend to coddle their children. So he needed that at the time. And he said, Michael, when you're ready, I'll let you know and I will help you get an interview with an agent. And so we went and we interviewed with an agent and they loved him. And he was with AEF. And they were amazing with Michael. And they signed him and then it just started rolling in all the auditions. And I would read the lines and see if he needed to be dressed preppy, if he needed to be dressed funky, if he needed to be dressed as a soccer player, whatever it was. I needed to make sure that all his clothes were ready and that he had the proper clothes. If not, we were buying clothes on the road, go to Marshall's or wherever to pick up clothes for the role.
which of course just adds to more of the financial burden of the whole thing.
Yes.
So the agent is the one who got him the actual the interviews, and so basically you were acting as Michael's manager, correct? Or did he actually have a manager?
At the time, he didn't have a manager. He just had an acting coach and an agent. And then moving forward, he started getting more parts and more pilots. And one of his casting directors, Doug, he was amazing. Michael was in a TV show, and it was called Not Walk the Prank. It was a TBS pilot, and it was great. The name will come to me. Anyway, he was in that pilot, and he came out of the room when Michael auditioned, and he was very young, and he said, I just want you to know that Michael's going to be a movie star. He has the star quality. He has it. He has the it factor. I said, oh, thank you so much, And then, years later, he always kept in touch with me, Doug. He always like, hey, what's Michael doing? I want him to meet this one, that one. I was like, well, now Billy Huffsey's acting as his manager, and then Billy was sick. So Michael was in a position to meet a new manager. And I try to, get Michael to meet this manager, but, he had his loyalties with Billy, but Billy told him that he was sick and he needed Michael to go somewhere else for now, and then Michael agreed to meet with Megan, his manager, and we went to a meeting, me, him, and his grandpa, and he's like, Mom, because he's 17, almost 18, and he's like, I just want you to know, I want to interview other managers. I said, hey, go for it, whatever you want to do, I'm good with that. And then so when we met her, we totally loved her, but she did the takeaway. She goes, in the event that we decide to move forward, blah, blah, blah. And he was like confused, and he's like, oh, thank you so much. Took pictures with her, and I took pictures. I'm always taking pictures. And I felt really good about it. He goes, Mom, I'm a little confused. What does she mean? Like, I thought she wanted me. And then she goes, in the event we move forward. I said, that's called like a takeaway. That's a business term. I said, she wants you to want her more, and she wants you to hustle for it. And then so we talked about it in the car. He goes, Mom, I don't need to look anymore. I said, cool. I loved her. I loved her energy. She was an agent, a big agent with CAA. And then she decided to open up her own boutique agency. And she has a lot of celebrities that she's helped be celebrities. And then he was with her, Megan Silverman, and then AEF. And then it just propelled from there.
So when we were having a drink, God, it's a couple months now, but doesn't it feel like last year? Jesus.
I know.
You were talking about how when I think it was during the time when Michael was getting called back for auditions, that some agencies or some people came and they wanted basically a lot of extra money from you to do something, and you're like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I'll do it myself. What was that? Who was that? I can't remember.
I don't remember the name of the agency, but early on in his career, they have these big modeling agencies, and then they have these huge cattle calls. And I remember going with my girlfriend, and it was like 1,000 people there. And I'm like, oh no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not paying for this. This is ridiculous. Like, we're going to do it a different way. And I recommend to anybody that's going to be in the business, they could contact me anytime. I'm more than willing to share and help anybody and guide anybody, but don't do it. Start out with a good acting coach, a good acting school, pay for your own pictures, get an agent. Like, there's a little system, but you're never going to make it in one of those big companies that put you on the catwalk and teach you how to be a model and how to be an actor, and you're paying 10, 20 grand. So many parents have gotten taken by people like that, including some of the parents that were in some of Michael's classes. Some people were taken by that because as a parent, we want to see our kids excel, and we do it at any cost. I'm not the only parent that has done it. All of the moms in his acting class, and dads, they wanted their kids to be just successful, and they've gone to extremes to get it, you know, to get their kids there.
So when you're doing all this, I mean, what's your friends' reactions like, or you know, friends or family members for that matter? Were they discouraging you, or were they worried that you were doing too much and then maybe it wouldn't pan out? I mean, how was that to maneuver?
I got a little bit of that, but it fueled me to show them I got this. I'm like, it's okay, I got this. It's my son, I got this. And I did, you know, I proved everybody wrong. Whoever didn't really think that it was the right thing to do. And, you know, my finances were already messed up because I went through, you know, a divorce. And I just wanted to know, and I wanted my son to know that I would do anything to help him achieve his dream, because I knew he had the talent. Ever since he was a kid, he was dramatic all the time. He had that with him. And like one of his agents said, Michael, it starts with a good actor. It starts with talent. And then the parent that dedicates themselves to that child. And no matter what cost, even if I have $50 in my pocket, I made it happen. You know, and we had a little system, and I tried to make every trip memorable because I couldn't really afford to take him on like cruises or vacations or anything like that. So our trips were our mini vacations and work trips, you know, so it was very costly, and God has been by my side, and many angels and many people praying for me that I've gotten through it.
So when Michael started to get callbacks and he started to get the auditions and stuff, what was how does that work? So the agent, as far as, and I'm not asking for dollar amounts, I'm just like, how does the cut from the agent work? So let's say that, you know, they find him a gig, he goes on auditions for it, he gets a callback, they like him, he shoots a pilot, and for whatever reason they don't pick the pilot up, and I'm assuming he gets paid something. Does the agent take a
It's substantial, yeah, he gets paid substantial, because at a certain point, after a certain amount of hours of him being in roles, he was qualified to be union, and it was like $3,500 a year to join SAG-AFTRA.
Mm-hmm.
And so finally, to be in training day, he needed to be union, and I was paying like monthly payments, so I had to pay the rest so he could do it, and or else he couldn't do it. So I was like, don't worry, Michael, we'll get it done, I'll handle it. And somehow I got it done, and he was in the union, and now he only qualified for union jobs. But we don't recommend you to get into union until you have enough under your belt, enough experience, because once you're union, you have to hand select what jobs you take. You know, you can't just take any job. It has to be a good job, and you know, you got to make sure that you're paid well, because now you don't qualify for non-union work. And non-union work is like, he did a Geico commercial, he did a Nerf commercial in Dallas, and you know, many times on auditions they picked him up in limos, and he was up for A Wrinkle in Time, and he was promised a role, and last minute they went with a younger kid, and you know, they sent us, you know, to California on the plane, and we've had those kind of auditions, and it was very exciting. And Michael's like, Mom, I could get used to this. I said, yeah, I agree. Like, you know, on pilots, they put you up in really nice hotels, and they pay for your meals, and they give you stipends, because otherwise I couldn't afford to stay in California by set and spend $300-400 a night in a hotel for 2-3 weeks. And then on the weekends, we would go home and wash clothes and regroup and then come back.
So he gets, you know, he does a pilot, he gets paid money, and then the agent takes a portion of that for,
yes.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
for the opportunity to do it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so I'm trying to figure out like.
He has an attorney, he has an amazing attorney. He has an agent, a manager, and an attorney. Mm-hmm. And the attorney oversees all his contracts. And whatever contract he had, you know, I'm very familiar with contracts, being in real estate. I used to work in CBS in New York. And so I reviewed the contracts and I questioned certain things, and I know what he's entitled to. And so what do you think? Can we get more here? Can they give him 2 hotel rooms? Can they, negotiate whatever, all the terms? Even though he had an attorney, they allowed me to be part of the process. And I always put Michael on speaker so Michael could learn how to negotiate the deals. And so Michael's negotiating his own deals with his attorney, manager, and agent.
Mm-hmm. That's fantastic. And that leads to another thing. So we see so much in Hollywood where we see up and coming actors, and we see that they just financially shoot their wad, right? Like they start making money and they're young, and we see it a lot with pro athletes and rock stars. So what is helping Michael stay grounded financially as his star is rising?
He has a business manager, and his business manager was referred to him by his manager, who I trust implicitly. And everybody on his team is amazing, and his business manager is amazing. Basically, he manages Michael's money. And so he tells Michael, he invests for Michael. He tells Michael, okay, you could live on this amount per month, and if you need extra money, you need to give me an explanation what it's for in an email. And so basically, or Michael has to call him and text him or whatever and say, hey, I need $5,000 for, a used car or whatever, or, $10,000 for an apartment or whatever. And he authorizes him to take his, he wires the money to Michael.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like he got a little bit of luck in there and getting a good team around him.
Yes, and that's very important, because I have 100% utmost trust in his team. And, he's been very blessed. AEF has been amazing to him. Megan has been amazing to him. Megan Silverman, Chris Abrams, his attorney, has been amazing. And now he just signed up with CAA, and that's one of the biggest agencies in the world. And I haven't met them, but I'm sure that they're going to do amazing things for Michael as well.
So as Michael gets older, does he really understand the full impact of everything you've done? Like, does he really get everything that and I don't want to say sacrifice, because it's
right.
You're doing it. I mean, you're obviously doing it by choice. So
right.
Did he get the scope of it? Or do you think maybe as he gets a little older, then he'll really grasp the scope of it?
Yeah, I think he gets it. And he's grateful. I believe he's going to get it more with age, but he's very grateful. And, he's told me many times, Mom, I couldn't have done it without you and all your sacrifices, and grandma and grandpa and all the people that have helped. He tells everybody all the time that I'm driving him back and forth, and I was exhausted, and, and in between that I was working. So it was very full. And then, my mom was handicapped, and we used to take her to her doctor's appointments, and we took care of her. Michael did too. And I think that's a big part of why he's so grounded, and he's so passionate, and he's so good with people of any age. He sees a senior, he doesn't discount them as just an old person. He just goes and talks to them, and he talks to anybody, and he has a kind heart, and I'm very proud of him.
Oh, I know. I see all your posts on Facebook, and Zoe got disconnected, and she's trying to rejoin, but she texted me a question that she wanted to ask. And I know that there's a certain type of account, and I can never remember the actual name of it, but she's
a Coogan account.
Coogan, yes. So so her question to you was, and then I can kind of piggyback on that, yes. Is what happens to the money when they're under 18? And it does go, I mean, I'm assuming that, of course, well, in the state of California, I think it's law that a Coogan account has to be open.
Right. And a certain percentage goes in the Coogan account. And then whatever wasn't in the Coogan account went into, Michael opened up a bank account, and he did whatever he wanted to do with the money. I wanted him to have his little spending money. so he gets a feel of how to manage his own money.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was 18 or 19, he took the money out. He didn't have that much money in there because he didn't have he did a lot of pilots, but he didn't have a lot of like Annabelle's and Love Victor. So he had a little money in there, and he used it to help him get his apartment in California. And that was interesting. He had a 2-bedroom apartment with like 8 kids. They have 2 bunk beds in each room. But it was kind of like a dorm. It was 2 master bedrooms, and he had a whole bunch of kids. And the first 6 months it was fun, but after that it wasn't fun anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It never is. I mean, when you're bunking with roommates, especially that many. So what would you advise parents who are faced in a situation, who are listening to this, and maybe their kid just came to them and said, hey, you know, I'm mom, I want to be an actor. What is your parting advice to them? Like, what would you tell them? I know you've already dropped some nuggets, but how would you direct them?
I have a niece. Her name is Aria Rosello, and she's going to be the next actress of the family. And I know her mom works in the casinos, and I told her, Aria, you go to Frank, you take his classes, you give it 100%, and when you're ready to get an agent, I will help you find an agent, and I will drive you. I will commit myself to driving you on auditions, but you need to be committed. You need to not take it as a joke. This is a job. Mm-hmm. And if you're committed and you work hard and you show me some of your work that you do, I'll give you 100%. I'll help you get an agent, a manager, and I'll help you along the way. And she's very dramatic. She's adorable. Mm-hmm. And so she's taking classes every Saturday with Frank at A1 Media. Mm-hmm. One Media Acting, sorry. So that's basically it. And to be strict, like it's not a joke, it's not a game, it's for real. Like, this is like going to college. You have to give it 100%, because if you do it half-assed, you're not going to get anywhere.
Right.
Right.
Right. Well, I think that's awesome. And I love the fact that there's so much insight there for people, because being a show mom is a lot of work, and you're one of the, I don't want to say you're one of the lucky ones, because it takes talent and it takes fortitude, but you're one of the, obviously the blessed ones. And, you know, Michael had the talent, and as the star of Love Victor on Hulu, which is going into its 2nd season.
Yes.
And yes. And so we're always seeing Facebook all aflutter with any time I've sent you articles, and everybody's seeing
yes, everybody has. It's like I can't even keep up with it. It's kind of very surreal to me still. Mm-hmm. And he's like, Mom, you're always crying. He always calls me when he gets that audition, when he gets that gig, when he got Annabelle, and I'm always hysterical crying. And when I went to the movie premiere with him and his ex-girlfriend, I was crying. And he's like, Mom, you're going to mess up your makeup. And he's cleaning my eyes. It was so cute. And, you know, that was like a big experience, going to the Annabelle movie premiere. And so we were in the movie premiere with him and his ex-girlfriend. And when we walked out and the doors opened, I felt like his life changed in front of us. And people were videotaping him and photographing him. And Michael Cimino, Bob Palmari. And they wanted to take pictures and videos. And I felt like in an instant, his life changed. Mm-hmm. And I was crying. I said, I can't help it, but I'm emotional. I wish my mom was there to see it.
She did.
I know she's there.
Yeah.
But I get emotional. He's like, Mom, you always cry. I said, I can't help it.
You're allowed to cry. It's amazing. And the fact that you basically stopped your whole world to get him to where he is fantastic. And I really appreciate you coming on the podcast. If anybody wants to get a hold of you, do you have a means that you would like them to try to get a hold of you?
Sure. They could call me at 702-526-8029.
Okay. And then is there anything you want to plug for yourself or on Michael's behalf?
Yeah. I mean, if anybody needs a real estate agent, you know, they're, you know, more than free to contact me. I've been an agent for over 16 years. I've even worked from the road. and I'm still doing it. I have amazing agents. I'm starting to get Michael's friends as clients from California. They're moving here, and I'm getting my real estate license in California now. And, you know, that's what I do for a living, and I love it. I love putting people in homes, and I'm an honest agent, and I love what I do. And I love helping people get their kids in the right direction with acting. And I think it comes with a lot of discipline and making sure that they're serious and they give it 100%.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't get a chance to ask my serious question.
Okay.
So I've decided you've inspired me to become an actor. So will you drive me back and forth to California?
Sure.
There it is. I got a ride. We can go to California, and I will be serious about the auditions at the beach.
When I have an old Lexus 2006, and I just changed out my motor. It had 290,000 miles. 06.
Wow. There it is.
Put another motor in there, and it's you know, now 150,000. But yeah. I'm gonna drive it until I can't drive it anymore. But yeah,
that's the way to do it.
A lot of mileage on the road.
Yep.
There's hope for you yet, Stormy.
There it is.
Yeah.
There, and you know, a lot of people get me confused as being a teenager too. So,
if you overlook the gray beard, yeah, 25 and 25
Yeah.
younger, he'll be one of his Victor Michael's high school classmates and love Victor.
That's exactly it.
But
I'll be one of the classmates.
It's pretty cool. Some fans reach out to me, and you know, his grandfather, my dad, is a big part of Michael going on auditions too, and he's so proud of him, and the whole family, we're just very proud of him. Everybody, my neighbors, and I just have like an amazing circle of friends, and I'm grateful to each and every one of them, everybody that's opened their doors to us and that has helped us in some way. I'm very blessed and grateful. I have a friend, Demi Ibe, and she's been a big inspiration for me, and she's been my rock. And I owe it all to her and everybody else that has been on my side.
Fantastic. Well, we want to thank you guys for tuning in today, and hope you guys got some good tidbits for all the show parents out there. As always, we want to encourage you to follow us on social media at Finance is the Other F Word. You can pick up Stormy's book, World's Best Buyer Persona System. You can pick up, which I gave Debbie a copy, Finance the Other, which she loves it. Did you hear it? Wait, say that again. Say you love the book. I'm sorry.
I love the book. It's amazing.
It's amazing. Wait, how much more do you want to say about my book? Anything else?
Very financial advice. It's a good book.
And now we got Zoe back. Yay! As we're wrapping up. So you can pick up Finance's Other F Word, Another F Word to Love at Amazon or Barnes & Noble and Target online. And then, of course, follow Lily Lou Mittens. So thanks for listening, and we will talk at you later. Everybody say bye.
See you later.
Bye. Take care.
Check out our Finances the Other F Words playlists for each episode on Spotify.